Welcome to this Friday edition of FreightWaves Now. I'm Emily Szink. Of course, we continue to track Hurricane Dorian from a weather aspect, but also how it's affecting the freight market. Let's get started.
Time for your Friday carrier update sponsored by AT&T Business. My name is Kyle Cunningham. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's happening across the nation. First off, Huntington, West Virginia, normally a pretty quiet market. As of yesterday, outbound rejections up 412%. Huge moves. You can see this isn't the first time this has happened in recent memory. Before August there, same story. They come up, you get about a week of elevated outbound rejections, providing a lot of optionality for carriers. Right back down after that. What's the reason for this? Your outbound tender volume, so the measurement of that volume heading out of that market, up 83%. So a lot of freight moving out of Huntington, a lot of optionality. Tender lead time down 20%. As the lead time diminishes, that's going to bring stronger rates to the truck. Freight's covering there in 1.39 days. You got capacity in West Virginia, route them over the mountains, get them in there. Let's take a look at what's happening down south, down in El Paso, Texas. So we flash over here, we can see your El Paso tender rejects moving up generally from the beginning of September. Currently sitting at 10.22, above that 10% carrier favorability. Your head haul line too headed up. Take a look at the rest of the Texas market. Pretty soft. Austin 1.4, Lubbock under 1%, McAllen at 2.49. Loads covering in El Paso 2.83 days. So if you're a 3-day average journey out of El Paso, that's one to take a look at. Looks like this one might keep trending up. We got a line to break at possibly around 12%. It can go up as high as 15%. El Paso, good market for carriers. Now let's move over to the center of the country, talking about Quincy, Illinois. We don't talk about Quincy too much, but there's been some interesting stuff happening. So you can see here at 8% almost on the outbound rejections, not exactly a full-on carrier sentiment dominated market, but what you're seeing is a move gradually up. So 31% increase as of yesterday. You can see that the outbound volume in Quincy up 10%. The general surrounding area, Taylorville as well, having some good luck in that market. Your outbound tender rejects in Taylorville trending up as well at 6.59. If we move to the next chart and take a look, you can see in a very clear micro view, the general market trends are moving upwards. So hey, you got capacity in Illinois, Quincy, Taylorville might provide you with a little more optionality outside of just that general Chicago market. And then taking a look next to give it a close out where you should be looking to cover today leading into the week. All of these blue zones, lots of outbound optionality up here in the northern Midwest. And as I was saying, Huntington, West Virginia. As always, stay tuned to FreightWaves Now every single day for your carrier updates.
Here at FreightWaves, we have so many great tools, and Kevin Hill joins me now. We added yet another. What are we looking at here, Kevin?
We are looking at the inaugural edition of the FreightWaves Pricing Power Index that the Freight Intel Group here is putting together on a weekly basis. And what it does, it shows who has kind of the upper hand in rebids or bids between shippers and carriers, who has pricing power.
So every week does this change?
It does change, and it's based on our analysis of a few factors. Of course, spot and contract rates, load volumes for demand, rejection rates, trucking regulations, economic policy, and economic statistics as well. So we gauge how the economy is going and how capacity is going and what the demand and supply factors are in trucking. So we come up with a gauge.
This is what I would expect in 2019 right now.
Yes.
I think probably everyone would. The shipper has a little bit more power. What does the numbers mean? What does that 35 mean?
Sure. So we'll start off with 50. This is basically dead even in the market. A complete and utter equilibrium, a balance of power. If we move over to the shipper, so it means that the shipper has more power in pricing and negotiations than carriers. If we come over past 50, over here to the carrier portion, that means carriers have more power. So in early 2018, we were probably right around here.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, we're probably down here. So this pendulum or this gauge is moving toward an equilibrium, or maybe over to the carriers. We're working our way through an overcapacity cycle. And we're getting some new data in here that may reflect that some capacity is leaving the market, and we'll be sharing that in the next couple of weeks with everyone. But this is going to be published every Thursday on FreightWaves.com, so we'll have a new number, and over time we'll have a time series of results that market participants shippers, carriers, and brokers can go in, look in, and gauge how the pricing power has changed over time.
How does this help someone make a decision? Say you're a shipper or a carrier, obviously you see the shippers have more of the power now. How does this help you make an informed decision?
So basically, if you know that you're in a loose capacity environment and shippers have the power, it means that it kind of sets expectations and it helps you with your negotiations, kind of how you frame your negotiations. So you know you don't have the power to say, well, you know, capacity is pretty tight right now. No, it's pretty loose. Spot market's down. Contract rates are coming down. Actually, the spot rate's coming up as that spread between contract and spot, or paper rates as we call them here, narrows. So it kind of gives you another validation of what most people are seeing in the market, and it's just some information that you can share certainly with your customers or with whoever.
Yeah, incredibly easy and great visual. Did you say it was out right now on FreightWaves.com?
It is. It's out on FreightWaves.com, and it'll be out every Thursday going forward. So tune in to FreightWaves for that, and we'll be talking about it every week here on FreightWaves Now.
It's time for our broker update with Donny Gilbert. A lot going on in the southeast right now in terms of trucks coming in, trucks going out because of the hurricane. We're looking at this map here. What does this show us, Donny?
Well, right now we're looking at the southeast because the Hurricane Dorian is right outside of North Carolina right now. So here over the next 24 hours, it should move on out to sea. So right now, hurricane relief efforts have not really started just yet because the storm needs to move on. People have evacuated out. Once the storm has moved on, then you'll bring back in people to set up the relief sites because those people right now are evacuated. And once that starts rolling, then the trucks will start rolling in. Of course, we know a lot of the trucks will come out of the Atlanta market, and of course, we got a lot of stuff stored over in the Alabama markets at the Maxwell Air Force Base. So here we're looking at 8-10 hours away for the loads to get there. So probably sometime either tonight or tomorrow morning they'll start dispatching loads into these areas. So what's really important to watch right now, especially if you're a broker, are watch the inbound and outbound tender rejection rates for markets all through the southeast. Florida right now, of course, you know it missed Florida, but there might be some stuff coming out. But as this other stuff starts moving in the coastal areas, you'll see capacity start tightening up. And of course, when people hear the word FEMA or emergency relief efforts, they're also going to start raising the rates and rejecting their current loads and picking up loads for higher rates. So definitely, especially through here, watch your inbound and your outbound tender rejection rates for this area.
If you're a broker and say you don't want to send someone to that area, where do you head?
Well, you know, if you're looking, there are a lot of even carriers and brokers that don't want to deal with disaster areas. It's very, very difficult, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can get caught, and you know those loads turn into extremely large losses. So when this occurs, they will avoid the area altogether. Up in the Midwest, though, we have a lot of markets that are strong that are picking up.
Yeah, Cincinnati.
Here, I brought Cincinnati, Ohio. If we're looking kind of at the short end over the last few days, here in the last 3 days of September, first of all, we saw the tender lead time start picking up. Tender lead time is the time when the load is booked, that time until the load actually picks up. So here, right now, if we were having a Monday pickups, we've got Friday to Saturday to Sunday, so we got about a 3-day tender lead time. When shippers start seeing carrier rates start picking up, they'll start increasing tender lead times. And then also, we will see that in tender rejection rates. So here in a 2-day period, we see tender lead times start to pick up from below the 3-day mark up to 3.6 days, and it's kind of dropped down to 3.3. But we saw reefer tender rejection rates go from 4% all the way to 17% in a 48-hour period. We saw drive-in tender rejection rates go from about a 6.6 to a 8.5. So here about 2% on drive-in tender rejection rates. That being in such a short period, that tells us immediately spot market rates have jumped up in Cincinnati. So if you're booking loads or looking at bidding loads in the Cincinnati market and you're a broker, you need to up your bids right now because carrier rates have increased. You need to increase your bids so that you prevent losses in that market.
Yeah, great information. Thanks, Donny. And yes, we will be following Hurricane Dorian throughout the weekend here at FreightWaves, so make sure you stick with us and make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And if you're not following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, make sure you do so. We hope you have a great weekend.